Hi everyone, this is another patch notes. This time probably point 4, June 24th, 2019. This one's quite a beefy one, so I'll just get straight into it. Sorcerers. Aurelian Sol is OP, we're making his ability take longer to work up to, and buffing Karthus and Morgana to give other sorcerers their time to shine. Here's the Aurelian Sol nerfs. I'm actually surprised there is no brand nerfs in the entire patch notes, especially since they're quite long. Maybe it's because of the length, maybe it's because they're planning to do another brief patch just before it goes to the live servers. Not quite sure, but yeah. At least there's a little early install changes. So Voice of Light damage reduced from 300 to 700 scaling to 250 to 650 scaling. It's a little bit of a chunk off of it. I don't think this is really gonna affect the actual damage output, but already a lot of people have just gone off of Aurelian Soul already. Plus the resurgence of some other units and classes and origins that we'll talk about in a bit. Yeah, people just seem to have gone completely off Aurelian Soul, though I think he's definitely viable and he's still definitely a top sorcerer, probably the best sorcerer still. Maybe competing with Karthus, but yeah, I think he's still good even with his damage change. I think the more potent change is the mana cost being increased from 100 to 125. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's still more viable when we get to the items as well. Actually, I might as well say it now. I just generally think if you build Aurelian Soul with like a Ludens, a Death Cap, Seraph's Embrace if it gets fixed. I'm not sure if it is fixed. There's no reference to it in these patch notes, but if it does get fixed, then that with the Death Cap and the Ludens is just gonna, I think, make him into more of a sort of one shot before he dies kind of thing. But we are seeing the resurgence of assassins, so maybe he won't be able to get it off in time. We'll see. But I still think it's definitely still a potent pick, just not going to be in that. He's not going to be the 3-stack with the Sphere Sojourn and the Rage Blade and like surrounded by his like Shapeshifter and Dragon buddies. Karthus, Requiem damage increased from 300 to 800 scaling to 350 to 850 scaling. A nice chunk added on, so very much just moved the damage from Aurelian Soul to Karthus. Yeah, I mean, Karthus was always reasonably potent. When the ult was coming down, it was like, oh, can my units get off all their damage before they end up dying? But admittedly, after a lot of Karthus ults, I ended up seeing a lot of my units always surviving on that kind of 50 to 100 health. So maybe this helps kind of solidify him in comps and actually allow him to just like end up killing off 3 or 4 units at a time with the ult. I don't think attack speed is still OP enough to stack him with a bunch of attack speeds and sort of Spirit Shogun still to get into constantly out. So I expect it will be similar to like if how Aurelian Soul is put into comps, where you put the Ludens, you put the Death Cap, you put the Seraph's Embrace if it's fixed, and then yeah, just hope for the best for a big boy ult. Morgana health increased from 600 to 2160 scaling to 650 to 2340 scaling. So early game definitely very nice. But on the later 2 ranks, it doesn't seem like it's gonna really affect her too much. She definitely needs the health. But I think it's more that her ult just doesn't seem to do that much damage. It provides a reasonable amount of CC with the whole sort of AoE stun thing, but the damage just doesn't seem that much. And increasing her health, yeah, is gonna make it get it off more, which makes sense because her ult isn't really going off too much. But I don't know. I just think it's not really too significant change for her, and she needs a lot more to actually be pushed up into that sorcerer kind of meta. But even then, like if you are going sorcerers, you probably do want to pick her up, just due to the lack of any real big boy sorcerers out of Aurelian Soul and Karthus. Gunslingers. Gunslingers are falling behind other character-centric teams, so are buffing some of their key champions. Yes, that is true. Although Lucian was already strong, we'll get to that in a second. But really, it's if you notice, there's two of these gunslingers are pirates. I think it's mainly the pirates that are a problem. They need some kind of other mechanic. To us, I think pirates just need to be completely reworked in terms of the origin passive. Yeah, because they're just not impactful at all. Like, you can buff gunslingers a bit, but it's not going to bring out Misfortune and Gangplank and Graves up into a bigger, uh, into the sort of more team comps. People are going to be running like just as a result of this, people are going to be running Lucian Tristana more. That's pretty much, especially with what I think will be a really good comp with Tristana. But yeah, anyway, so let's just actually get through changes. Powder Cake's damage increased from 150 to 400 scaling to 200 to 450 scaling. It is nice. His Powder Cakes are probably the best thing about Gangplank. They did a reasonable amount of damage. They're going to do a bit more damage. But, I don't know. Again, it's just pirates. Like, increasing his damage is going to help, but it's not going to solve the problem. It's just simply a band-aid solution. Yeah, I just want to see them get pirates back to some kind of, not back because they haven't actually been in a good state yet, but get them to a good state. Misfortune attack speed increased from 0.75 0.85. Again, pirates. Just there's no point really talking about that too much. Just move on. Lucian attack damage increased from 60 to 65, and attack speed increased from 0.6 to 0.65. Now, Lucian was already, I think, outside of Draven, I think Lucian was already the best ADC in the game, what you would call a traditional ADC in League. But yeah, some kind of big damage dealer, whether that be a gunslinger or a ranger. But I think it just pushes him even more to the forefront. Draven, I still think, is more powerful than him, especially, and I've seen a lot of return to the whole 3-item stack Draven have a front line currently in some of the games that I played earlier. Though I need to play a lot more games on the new patch to solidify my opinion on a few other things. But yeah, Lucian is definitely the best kind of carry outside of Draven at the moment when it comes to like traditional AD carries. Some would say Ashe, just because of the glacial, but I think you can. Yeah, it just depends. Ashe is also very good. It's just, I think, especially because I think Lucian had the highest DPS beforehand, like just straight out the gate. So like he's one of the better level 2 picks, and they've just increased his AD and his attack speed. So he's just gonna be even better as a like initial level 2 pick, even if you're not even gonna have Lucian in your comp. Like, he's just insanely good to pick up in the first carousel. Tristana, attack speed increased from 0.65 to 0.7, that's pretty nice. Explosive charge damage increased from 125 to 250 scaling, to 150 to 300 scaling. Not too fantastic early, but the late game, the later levels, it does have a reasonable chunk of damage added to it. I'm definitely going to see Tristana, I think we're going to see Tristana rise up the ranks just like Lucian. But I actually think there's going to be something else. I think one of the main comps that we'll see as well is basically a Yordle / Lucian comp, where you shove in the Tristana and Lucian to get the like two unit gunslinger bonus, while also shoving a bunch of other Yordles out there to get the attacks miss bonus, building a lot of phantom dances on people. So that they're basically, they're all squishy. Most of them squishy, but they will be pretty much near impossible to kill with, unless you have some kind of insane assassin comp, which is the other comp that is on the rise. But yeah, I think this will definitely be a pretty interesting comp. It is a bit of an outside pick. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be. Like, I might just get completely bitten in the ass and I never see this comp ever at all. But I really like the idea of the Lucian / Yordles, and I think it'll do pretty well at the moment in this matter. Wild attack speed per stack reduced from 8% to 7%. Doesn't sound that much, but it's reasonably potent. Wild's still good. Like, it's still good to have as an early team, to have Nidley and the Warwick building out that buff. It's still fine. It's just that this, along with the Aurelion Soul nerfs, just means you're not going to see the Aurelion Soul with the wild shapeshifter kind of bonuses. That team again isn't really going to be as anywhere near as potent as it was. Yeah, nerfing wild a bit, given how powerful attack speed has ended up being in TFT. Yeah, like it's just attack speed is such a good stat in TFT. It's yeah, I'm not surprised they made this change, and yeah, I'm glad at least the wild shapeshifter Aurelion Soul comp has like not been like got like gutted or anything. It's now just a comp to run if you want to run it. It's not the OP pick that you have to pick, which is always nice. Nidalee Primal Surge heal reduced from 200 to 600 scaling to 150 to 600 scaling. I mean, it's definitely a hit at the level 1 and level 2, but really it doesn't matter. Like if you are running Nidalee, I think if you're running Nidalee, you should be getting her to level 3. There is no excuse really, apart from just not being able to pick up the units in the shop or the carousel. Like you should be leveling her up to 3. So really, this doesn't really make a difference to her overall potency of healing once she transforms into Cougar form. And attack damage in Cougar reduced from 30 to 120 scaling to 20 to 100 scaling. Again, like, yeah, it reduces her early game buff, which is definitely where she's quite powerful. But late game, if you get items on her and you should be getting her to level 3, is literally going to be no difference. I guess all this is going to do is just reduce the reduce the potency of early wild, getting that Warwick and Nidalee out there early. And but yeah, in the late game, in whatever comp she's part of, she's still going to be the same powerful Cougar that she was. Some tier 2 champions. The tier 2 roster in TFT is weak right now. Yeah, it's pretty much I think looking at some statistics that someone put into a nice little spreadsheet a little while ago, it was literally never worth buying tier 2s. So like on a general buying scale, obviously if you're making a specific comp that has a bunch of tier 2s in it, or at least a couple, then obviously they're worth picking up. But yeah, generally I think it was shown that they were never valuable at whatever level you were at. It was always either valuable to get 1 costs or 3 costs, and yeah. So yeah, not surprising that they're considered weak. We're buffing a number of them to make tier 2 star ups worth pursuing. That's fair enough. But some of them, some of them are interesting. At least some of these changes. Rocket grab damage increased from 100 to 600, from 100 to 600 scaling to 100 to 800 scaling. Not sure why this is in there. I mean, I know what they're trying to do, but the thing is, Blitzcrank's in a very strange state where he is both absolutely terrible, but if you get like a bunch of AP or attack speed items on him, he's literally just like pulling and one-shotting carries. But he's not that incredible. Like you do have to get like similar to level 3 Caston with 3 stack items that is pretty insane. Blitzcrank level 3 with 3 items, 3 stack items is okay. Is pretty insane. But the problem is you rarely get him to that state, and even if you do, eventually he just falls off if you don't quite get him to that level 3, or if you don't quite get all 3 items on him. So I kind of do not see the need for the buff. Admittedly, they're just generally doing it to get tier 2s a bit up. So yeah, maybe he gets pushed up a bit. Maybe the whole Blitzcrank pull and kill while others distract comp is going to see a lot more play. We'll have to see what happens. I just don't think this is really necessary. Admittedly, I'm not sure what to do with Blitzcrank. He's a bit of a bizarre. He's in a bit of a bizarre situation. So we'll just see how stuff plans out. But I didn't really see the point in this. Elise Spiderform lifesteal increased from 60 to 100% to 60 to 120%. Very much needed. Elise is such a nice idea for a unit in TFT, but really the lifesteal from her it was nice, but it wasn't quite there. This definitely helps. Don't think it's gonna shove her into the mainstream though, because she's still a demon for some reason, and demons are absolutely terrible. Really, she needs a buff to demon or just some kind of insane buff where like shapeshifters come back. We could still see the odd shapeshifter comp. You know, if you are running the old Aurelion Soul shapeshifter wild combo, it can still be okay, but yeah, while she's a demon, she's not going to be that particularly potent. But that's still a very nice change, at least to start. And Spiderling health increased from 250 to 500. So at least when she dies, she's slightly more useful. Shen attack damage increased from 55 to 65. Nice, I guess. Yeah, ninjas are okay on their own, obviously. So it's nice to see that, because occasionally I'll shove a Shen into a comp. It's not bad. He's quite a nice champion. He's quite a reasonable level 2. He's probably one of the better level 2s, so I'm kind of surprised he's getting a buff. But then I guess they're buffing quite a few level 2s. I don't think is this all of them? Are there only 6 level 2s? Or 2 costs? No, there aren't. Yeah. So I'm not sure. There could be a few. Like I think Rek'Sai definitely needs a buff. So I'm not quite sure why she wasn't in it. Braum needs a little tiny bit of a buff, although Guardian is pretty OP. Ari needs her Q bug fixed. Lyssandra's pretty weak at the moment. Lulu's pretty strong, so I'm not surprised about that. But yeah, I'm a little surprised they didn't go all out with the tier 2s, but also decided to buff like Shen, who's reasonably okay. But whatever. This could increase his. This could. Well, to be honest, I might. I don't know. The mess is up a bit up in the air at the moment. I could definitely see like a big Blade Master comp with him being shoved in could happen, but I don't know. He was still pretty good. This makes him slightly better. I don't think it's going to make him insane or anything, so he's probably just going to stay pretty much where he is. Pike, Phantom Undertow stun duration increased from 2 to 3 scaling to 2.5 to 3.5 scaling. Yeah, always very nice. Stun duration is obviously going to be a very powerful stat for a unit. This is a big buff. We're seeing potentially a lot of assassin metas, an assassin meta coming about. I've played a little bit with some of the assassin comps. They are pretty potent at times, but like I don't know. I think the assassin comps at the moment can easily just be countered by simply just running like your whatever flavor of Vayne, Ashe, or Draven with a front line and abusing Vayne, Ashe, or Draven's origin. It's just gonna easily solve that. Like as long as you position well to counter the assassins, and just if you're playing Ashe, abuse Glacial. If you're playing Vayne, abuse the Noble, and if you're playing Draven, abuse the Imperial. But yeah, I know we're still gonna see a lot of assassins. It's quite popular at the moment. But again, I don't think it's as long as people play some reasonable counter comps to it. It's I don't think it'll be too insane. Mana cost reduced from 125 to 100. Yeah, again, this just helps him get stun off more, which was occasionally going off, but not all the time going off. At least now it's as potent as it should be. I think he's getting it off about the right amount. So yeah, it's quite nice. Attack speed increased from 0.55 to 0.6. Yeah, this is another contributing factor to being able to get his stun off. So yeah, all good changes there really. Varus piercing arrow cast time reduced from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. Very, very good. Very, very glad that they actually shoved this in, because it doesn't, again, like it doesn't seem much because it's half a second, but it's like it's a quarter of the charge up time like taken off. Like he's gonna get it off more. You might try and see more kind of ranger comps, maybe more viruses with like a Ludens or a Death Cap, especially with attack speed going down a little bit. But I don't know, attack speed still pretty good. So probably I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I definitely like this change. It's very nice. Zed attack damage increased from 55 to 60, and attack speed increased from 0.6 to 0.65. It's nice, but he's a ninja. Like one ninja is always nice to have in a comp. So in an assassin comp, he's going to do fine. But apart from that, he's not really that useful. Plus, in an assassin comp, he's not even one of the better assassins. Like I think Evelyn is the only other assassin that's worse than him. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think we'll see him quite a bit just due to the fact that he is an assassin, but he's not going to really be any of the potent part of that comp. So right, some more champion changes. Aatrox or Atrox, depending on your pronunciation of it. Health increase from 650 to 23. Sorry, yeah, from 650 to 2340 scaling to 750 to 700 scaling. Yeah, this is quite nice. He needed a bit of a buff, especially with his health. He was just dying before he even got his ability off, and even then he would get it off and then immediately die. Whether this will solve that at all is yet to be seen. I actually am surprised I haven't seen a single Aatrox being picked after the patch landed last night slash today, depending on where you are in the world. But yeah, I haven't seen a single one being picked. This might be just simply that people still think he's pretty trash. We'll see. I think he definitely can still be picked up in some Blade Master comps. Again, though, like Zed, he is going to be a lesser part of that. Dark and Blade damage increased from 300 to 700 scaling to 350 to 850 scaling. It's quite nice, especially that they increase it quite a bit for the level 3, maybe enticing more people to go for that level 3 or level 2 Aatrox rather than just have them as a level 1 or occasionally a level 2. But again, like, I think we need to see a lot more of him being used in some Blade Master comps just to sort of see what happens, because I've not seen a single Aatrox since the new patch. But yeah, we'll see how he turns out. I think Aatrox is something we need to keep an eye on. I'd like him to do well, because I don't know, he just hasn't been picked at all really too much since the beginning of TFT. So yeah, it'd be nice to see him in a comp and sort of doing well. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Akali, attack speed increased from 0.7 to 0.75, 5 points strike damage increased from 150 to 500 scaling to 200 to 550 scaling. I initially didn't think this wouldn't be too much of a buff. Like, it's a reasonable buff, and you know, assassins are coming back, so she is going to be obviously picked in those assassin comps and do alright. But it is incredibly surprising how much damage this 5-point strike damage can actually do to your carries. I have seen her one-shotting quite a few different carries, so yeah, I think she's definitely one of the most potent picks in the assassin comp at the moment, along with Rengar, who's incredibly underrated, and who else is it? Pyke, obviously, and Kha'Zix, who's, I think, is probably the best assassin. But yeah, so yeah, definitely one of the more potent ones. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a little bit of reversal of these. Not necessarily a full reversal, but at least some small nerfs to her in the next patch, because she is pretty strong. Darius, health reduced from 650 to 2340 scaling to 600 to 2160 scaling. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, Darius is pretty reasonably strong early, but to be honest, like, by the end game, even if you had a level 3 Darius, he wasn't really doing much. He wasn't really surviving that long unless you had a lot of items on him. So yeah, it's kind of strange, but at the same time it makes sense. I'd rather them just maybe have like nerfed the level 1 and nerfed the level 2 health a tiny bit, and then left the level 3 health as it was. But yeah, that's fair enough. I hope he doesn't get shoved out too much, because the Imperial buff is quite a nice buff. But I think he'll still be fine. I don't think he's affected too much, certainly just a little bit less potency. Garen, no changes for now. We're paying attention to how good spinning is at winning. Yes, I'm surprised again, no changes. Maybe like Brand, they were saving it for a patch just before it goes live, or for the live patch. I don't know, this might be the live patch, this might not be the live patch. I would be a bit disappointed if this was the live patch. Would like to see a few more things worked out, especially some bugs, but again, maybe they're changing these bugs separately. Maybe the next patch will be just a big bug fix. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I hope Garen at least gets changed a little bit before the live patch, because he is level 2-star Garen rather. Like, early game is just incredibly strong. Like, yeah, he falls off a little bit. He doesn't fall off as much as Darius actually, but he's still pretty extremely potent for a 2-star for early game. Yasuo, health increased from 650 to 2340 scaling to 700 to 2520 scaling. Very nice. It's not going to do a ton to like bring him out of the depths, but as we see with the Aatrox changes, there might be some resurgence of a Blade Master comp. So if that does happen, maybe he is a better like pick up if you come across them in the store / on the carousel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've sold every Yasuo I've ever picked up or bought. So well, at least picked up on the carousel. I don't think I would buy them and then sell them, but yeah, pick them on the carousel at least. I think I've sold every single one, so it would be nice to actually see them in comp and maybe use them a little bit. But yeah, we'll find out. We'll see what happens with that. Items bring down the power of Spear and Zeke's, given their dominance in the current meta. Also buffing up a few of the lesser used items. Not surprised by this. Yeah, Spear and Zeke's pretty strong. Especially since last patch they made Zeke's actually be able to stack. It's pretty insane. Locket's okay, but yeah, that didn't get as much benefit from the ability to stack now as much as Zeke's did. I pretty much saw like 2 or 3 Zeeks on a lot of different comps, but the attack speed aura going down from 20% to 10%, it's not too much of a nerf. Like it's not gonna it's gonna stop it from being put on about three or four of your units. You're not gonna really see that too much anymore, but yeah, it's still nice to get it on one of your guys, maybe someone you're not gonna stack items on. But you get that combination of what is it, BF sword and giant spout. So yeah, definitely still good to have one, but not as you're not gonna stack it a ton like before. Rapid fire cannon fixed a bug where rapid fire cannon was given triple range instead of double. I did kind of notice that on a few people, realizing that was like they probably shouldn't be attacking that far. But yeah, it's nice. Again, bug fixes are always nice. Spirit Surgeon, mana per attack reduced from 20% to 15%. It makes it slightly less OP, but it's still good. It's probably gonna take out the meta of Spirit Surgeon, Rage Blade, just constantly ulting. But it's still gonna be pretty useful for certain champions. It's still good for like people. I think you're gonna see less Spirit Surgeon and Rage Blade and more Spirit Surgeon and Ludens and Deathcap kind of thing. You're gonna try and get those high burst APs just to get that off a little bit more often. Guardian's Angel revive health increase from 300 to 500. It's nice, but I don't think it's gonna bring the item up into the forefront amazingly. Ionic Spark damage increase from 100 to 200. This is a much more potent buff. Ionic Spark was kind of interesting, but like it wasn't that impactful. It's not too much health taken off, but 200 at least gives one of your enemy units quite a big disadvantage to start with. So yeah, I think we'll see this a lot more. I think it's a lot better to buy now. But it's not going to be a priority. I don't think you're going to be seeing it every single game. I don't think you should be like building it with every single team comp, but it just has a bit more value and a bit more of a use now because the 200 increase to 200 is actually quite nice. But yeah, not too much about Ionic Spark rather. Luden's Echo damage increased from 100 to 200. Very nice. I don't really see the need for this buff, but it's nice anyway. So just going to be an even better item. The only reason I don't think it was picked too much on people before is just simply due to the value of attack speed items, especially Rage Blade. So yeah, just we'll see quite a bit of this from now on, as we should do. Damage reflect increased on Thornmails from 25% to 35%. Again, it's nice, but it's not going to change too much, I don't think. Maybe it counters the potential counter for assassin comps of like your Draven, Ashe, Vayne, and then abusing the Origin with the front line. Maybe that counters that, but really, like, I think, especially Draven, is just going to push through that 35%. He doesn't care, especially with the Bloodthirster. It's not going to matter at all. Warmog's max health regen increased from 2.5% to 3%. Very nice. I really like Warmogs, but it does feel a little underwhelming. Hopefully this will bring it up. I haven't really been building it too much on some of the games that I've played since this patch. That's mainly because I've been trying out the Assassin comp and the Yordle comp. So yeah, overall, quite a nice patch. Quite a nice beefy patch. But it's still a few things missing, which is kind of surprising. Like the brand, the fact that they're delaying the Garen changes. But overall, yeah, quite nice. I'd like to see what comes out of the meta, whether that be the assassin comp, my potential Yordle comp, or just some kind of big boy sorcerer in the back comp. I think it's pretty up in the air at the moment. Maybe even we get a kind of mix kind of bag where we don't have one OP comp. We have a few different comps that could be viable. That would be really nice. But knowing everyone out there, they'll probably find something that is considered OP, and we'll all be playing that very soon. So yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully, again, I'm using tftactics.gg. You've probably all heard of it, but it is very nice. I very much love the site, and yeah, I'll be continuing using it. Thanks.